Good afternoon and a warm welcome to Luveve Stadium, where we are giving you this Southern Region Division 1 encounter between mountain climbers and Bosso 90. It's a rescheduled fixture that was postponed when the Highlanders development side went to South Africa to take part in the Orlando Pirates Youth Cup. My name is Sakeleni Ngumalo. I'm with Anele Nyati and Dumi Praise Lagama. Well, Bosso 90 in goals, there we see the return of Gerald Sibanda. I remember in their last encounter, it was a high-scoring match where they played out a 4-3 result against Zimbabwe. On the other hand, the man who is leading the mountain climbers attack is none other than Tendai Zaza. But we also see the presence there of former Bosso 90, former Highlanders junior player Devin Fuzani. He is part of the mountain climbers outfit there with the responsibility for the throw. It's a long one into the box. Zaza flicks it forward, but cleared there with Nube. Komo further flicking it forward. It falls now from Komo. He sends it wide to the left channel where there is Nyahanana. Tries to work his way past one man, but could not. Masego with a long clearance for mountain climbers. Bosso 90 clearance falls from Saliwa. And that was a poor pass there by Msaliwa. Instead of trying to look for guys that were in a more advanced position, he tried a crossfield pass and it did not work out. Into the box it comes out, missed there by the skipper. Into the box by Mloja. A frantic defending there by Bosso 90. Into the box it comes, and Sibanda had to scramble to keep that one out of goal, and then rushes to dispatch his clearance and hits a mountain climber's a striker on the head. I wonder why Gerald Sibanda was rushing to dispatch that one, because at the moment it looks like Bosso 90 are under pressure, so he has to try and cool things down.
Yes, Prakesa, it's what I said with the throw last time. He did the same thing, but now I think he had spotted the movement of Nya Hanana on the side. But then, as a goalkeeper, you should make sure that the path is clear before you even attempt such. Because now, as you look, you might have committed a mistake that could have been a very huge howler there at the back. But tough luck to the climbers player there who went down. He was hit at the back of the head. A very, very dangerous position to be hit by the ball. But well, he's up, which means he's good, Prakesa.
Yes, you are the goalkeeper's coach. You're a goalkeeper, so you will have the last say. Even though I believe that at times it's important to cool things down a bit when your team is a bit under the pressure. Mzondo with a long clearance forward. He's looking for Matlangu, but that one is easily cleared by mountain climbers. It falls now for Ndoro. But Ndoro tried to run with that one instead of finding a teammate. But possession still with climbers, because they've won themselves a throw-in on the right channel for Bosso 90, on the left channel for climbers. And we've played 19 minutes of this one. Still a goalless affair. Fuzane playing it back to Lloyd Masego. Back to Fuzane. He turns and attracts a foul there. Well, the twisting and turning and facing his own goal, I think it makes it easier for the Bosso 90 players to then press him and force him to play it all the way back to his goalkeeper or to his defenders. I think that's something that he has to rectify. That is Fuzan.
Yes, he has been very negative so far, Prakesa. He has only produced 2 or 3 or less passes into the final third, and you wouldn't want that from your midfielder, Prakesa. But let's wait and see. Maybe possibly he will settle into it, because he has shown with these 2-3 that he has distributed, he has shown that he's capable.
He definitely has the touch, but it's only that he has to be more positive in his approach because he plays facing his goal most of the time. Lochwa fails to control, and Lauzi wins a throw, which is quickly taken by Mzondo. It falls from Salua, tries to flick it on, but that one does not work out. Nyati wins it for Bosso 90, and it falls for Nyahanana. Chance for Bosso 90 to go on the break. It's still Nyati, but good shielding there by Masego to protect that ball and allow Nonja to come and grab it.
It's very true, those, are the basics of a defender, what Masego did. So full marks to him for actually taking the striker Nyati off the ball there and making sure that the team survives as they attack once again.
Well, that header there seemed to trouble Spanda a bit, but it was just a couple of inches too high, and so it is a goal kick to Bosso 90. They decide this time around to play it out from the back as Nyati is dispossessed. It's picked up by Ndoro. Goes for goal, and that one was a very tame effort there.
Wrong turn by Nyati there, Prakesa. I think I did mention it. It didn't really scan properly the area to see who is close by. And now the turn again is very wrong in that middle part of the field, Prakesa. So it's what we always say to these midfielders. Make sure that you know what's happening within your area. Know what's happening. If the ball is coming from a certain area, control this way and pass it. By now, these players should know it, Prakesa. They should really know it.
Menzo Ushengwenya. It's picked up now by Nyahanana. Right at tackle. It is Nyahanana still going forward, turns and crosses into the box. Into the box by Kundwane. It comes a header, and well, that's a wasted opportunity there by Lauzi because he was totally unmarked. But maybe he thought he was in an offside position. I wonder.
Yeah, I think Lauzi should really try and improve. Bosso 90 is a big opportunity.
And it's in! Well, that was an error there from the veteran goalkeeper.
A very, very huge howler, Prakesa. It's what we've been talking about. These goalkeepers, they are so much in a hurry. I think maybe today they are enjoying this little Veve pitch, Prakesa, because you can see every time, the moment they grab the ball, they want to quickly release it. But then you wouldn't expect that from a well-traveled goalkeeper. But these mistakes happen.
Yeah, 22 minutes into the match, Prakesa and Bosso 90 taking the lead, and the youngster Msaliwa, who was hit by the ball, I could see that
when he was still an under 14, so he spent quite a lot of time there at the Highlanders development structures, and showing some very cool composure to slot that one past the on-rushing Nonjabulo. So he has given his team the lead. So let us wait and find out if they're going to be able to build onto this lead, or maybe go on to notch a victory, because at the moment they are in position 17 with just a mere 12 points. So it will help their cause if they're going to go on to win today, because it does not help matters if you just keep on playing good football but not getting the result. So they have to get the result and move away from the relegation zone.
Yes, Prakes, I think it's high time. We're already... this is the last, their only remaining fixture that was a fixture in hand. So going into the second half of the season, we want to see something different. Even if we say we are developing, we need something totally different. We need to produce a very competitive squad, Prakesa. It's what we want to see. It's what should change.
Nyati with a long one forward. He's looking for their danger man. That is Nyanana. Showing a bit of skill, steps it over, but the defender was unfazed and poked that one out of play. Well, he's a tricky customer.
Very handful, Nyanana.
Tapia Matsiva, he will have a difficult afternoon, playing as the right back because every time he's in possession, he tries one or two things Nyanana before crossing and again another error.
Good block there by a Mountain Climbers defender, and a foul has been committed there. So some breathing space for Mountain Climbers, because after conceding that goal, it looks like they are now under more pressure from Bosso 90.
I'm much more worried, with the Nonja Brakesa. And once again, basics of the goalkeeper, if you come out of your area, then make sure that you get the ball, because if you miss it, then who's guarding your goal? And in that instance, we saw him, out of his area and then missing the ball. And unfortunately for him, the effort by Msadiwa was blocked. But before that, we saw the youngster Nyahanana. So I'm seeing him, and then I'm thinking of Bill Antonio from Dynamo's Brakesa. The youngster who is lit up the local scene. So you realize that Antonio, whenever he gets possession, before he releases it, he will try to beat his men. And I think for a winger, it is something that needs to be encouraged, especially for most of our youngsters here. You will see that someone is saying they are winger, but they are not doing much in terms of dribbling, in terms of that trickery. And I think Nyahanana has got a bright future. And if Antonio is making it in the PSL, then this youngster can also go up there and show us these skills that he is showing us this afternoon.
Yes, sir. He has really looked lively on that left side, Nyanana. But as you highlighted to me, it's very worrying to see a goalkeeper of Nonja's caliber. He moved way off his line, and to miss that ball, worst of all, playing dangerously. They're putting his head on the line. It's something that you don't really want to see from an experienced goalkeeper.
As it dispatches a long one forward, it's flicked on by Zaza. And there's some moments of hesitation there by Ngube, the Bosso 90 captain, but he recovers and sends a one towards Nyahanana, who crosses into the box. Ndoro going on a run. Well, those runs are not working out today for Ndoro, because I've seen him in the past when he has taken on players, but today, so far, with 28 minutes on the clock, it's yet to work out.
Yeah, I think, the strategy that is employed by Bosso 90, by the wingers, stick to the line. On the other hand, we've got Mlauzi, and then on the other side, we've got Nyanana. So they are not really giving much space to the Climbers wingers. So it hasn't worked out for Doro, and as well as Katuso Tumenko Sini. He is also another one, who always gets something for Climbers down the wing, but it hasn't really worked today. And I think they've really tried to change the strategy, Brakesa, from what they've been playing previously, and it hasn't worked this afternoon so far in these 22 minutes that we have played. In these 28 minutes that we have played, Brakesa, it hasn't really worked out for Climbers, as Bosso 90 still lead this one by a goal to nil, a goal that was scored by Zbusiso Mahlango in the 22nd minute.
A throw in for Climbers on the near flank. Brendan Chuma finds Makamba Desmond to Masego Lloyd. Masego pumps along one forward, flicked forward by Tumenko Sini for Zaza to run on to, but Swanda was quick, alert and quick to come out of his area and grab that one.
Yes, good decision making there from Swanda. It's what you expect from a goalkeeper. And so far he has really made good decisions here and there, especially breaking away from goal.
Across into the box by Madziva. Good defending by the Bosso 90 skipper. But the danger still not yet cleared. It has been, as the ball has been collected by Gerald Sipanda. Well, the final pass for Mountain Climbers not coming out right at the moment.
I think the two central midfielders, Fuzani and as well as Menzo Ngwenya, they haven't really played positively. If their forward play hasn't been up to standard. Look at what Prince
Mpomo. Through ball for Nigel Mlauzi into the box. He goes. Still Mlauzi opens fire. The second goal for Bosso 90, and some good work in the middle of the park by Prince.
Yes, he played well this afternoon, Prakesa. I've seen him play on the wing, and he has done well. And I've seen him play behind the strikers, and he has continued to do well. So, like you say, it is the shifting spanner, Prakesa, and this afternoon, he has also been the live wire, showing these two central midfielders from Mountain Climbers how it's done in terms of being positive, in terms of, uslogoza, we call it that, those incisive passes that, create space for your forwards. And in that instance, Mlauzi doing justice to a brilliant pass from Ndlovu. And it's 2-0 with 30 minutes played. So lots of work to do for Rogers and Ndlovu. I can see him, he's now up, and his brilliant pass from Ndlovu. And it's 2-0 with 30 minutes played. So lots of work to do for Rogers and Ndlovu. I can see him, he's now up, and he's just standing there and looking at the field to see, looking for answers. And let's wait and see if they will come those answers, because Bosso 90 this afternoon, it looks like they really mean business and want to move away from that relegation zone. 2-0 Prakesa, as we have played 32 minutes.
A clearance there by Nigel. It falls now for Chuma. Pumps along one forward, is looking for Ndoro. Chest it down, but to an opponent, and Nyati will launch an attack via Nyahanana. A through ball for Ndlovu, the outstanding midfielder with an eye for a pass, but this time around he does not win that one, as it goes out of play for a goal kick to Climbers, who are trailing by 2-0. Makamba showing a bit of coolness there to play that one to Chuma, who pumps along one forward, which is headed away by Nigel Ngube for a throw-in.
I think
Lochwa leaves it for Chuma, who pumps a long one into the box. It falls now for Nyahanana, who plays it forward from Saliwa, who's brought down, but the referee was quite close to the action. Fuzane plays it wide to the left channel. Mlochwa wins a throw-in for Mountain Climbers, just near the corner flag. You quickly text it that's Mlochwa, but rushing things there, Mlochwa, and nearly putting his team under a lot of danger there, because the ball had been nicked by the Bosso 90 players, but there was a high foot. So free kick now for Mountain Climbers.
Yes, we wait to see how they are going to dispatch this one, Mountain Climbers. But it's in a promising area. You can even take a cricket goal here if you have the technique.
It's Fuzane behind the ball. He goes for goal, gives it a curl, but that one was routine goalkeeping there by Sibanda, who dispatches a long one. He's looking for Saliwa, who fails to control.
There is one instance, I was talking to Farai Tawachera after a match that was played at White City. So he was talking of the basics of a striker, that when you receive the ball, you have to turn. You don't receive it facing your goal.
Yes.
And I've seen Saliwa this afternoon. He's doing those basics right brackets. Unfortunately, it hasn't really worked, but I'm quite impressed with how he controls the ball. Whenever he receives it, he tries to turn either to the left or to the right, and it's something that the Bosso 90 coaches can build on as they help the 16-year-old youngster to become a good striker. So last week he scored a brace, and he's also another one who is in form and has impressed me, in this junior setup for Highlanders.
Well, Coach Anel will tell you that it's called being always on a half 10. cricket goal collected there by Sibanda is proven to be steady whenever the mountain climbers players attack shots from range, and he's been well positioned and been able to collect cleanly.
Yeah, speaks to confidence there, Prakesa. He has been really confident. He has taken those catches cleanly and very well. First time catch. It's what you want from a goalkeeper. It's what you want from a goalkeeper, and so far, so good.
Another man who's done quite well for Bosso 90 is Gillian Nyati, because he's winning everything in the middle of the park. He's stopping the mountain climbers' engine room from creating anything there in that middle of the park. So credit should also go to Nyati.
Especially coming into the shoes of Darlington, highly rated Darlington Mukuli, but he has really came in and plugged that gap, and he has played well, especially when you look at the position the shoes that he had to fill, Prakes. And this afternoon he's another positive about the Bosso 90 team. So I think kudos to him as well. But looking at the goalkeepers as well, last week we saw Nhlanhla Mlilo being substituted, midway through, the second half after Saints had fired 3 past him, and Gerald has come in this afternoon and he has kept a clean sheet so far. So I'm just thinking what is going through Nhlanhla's head this afternoon, seeing your other the goalkeeper you are competing with doing so well. But Gerald will be traveling to the university games, so Bosso 90 need a goalkeeper, and Nhlanhla will have to step up because he's the only one now left in the team. As we have played 37 minutes, Brakesa, it remains Bosso 92 and Mountain Climbers and
Well, Mlauzi down on the ground, injured there, and the referee motioning to the Bosso 90 bench to send in their medics so that the player can be attended to. He's the man who got Bosso 90's goal on the half-hour mark. That is Nigel Mlauzi. Let us hope that it's not anything serious, because having to do an injury-inspired substitution would not be good for the Bosso 90 technical team. But from the look of things, it seems like he is really in pain. That's Mlauzi. But well, on the bench, I think they also have some quality there, that Bosso 90.
Yeah, it's true, Prakesa. They've got, being a developmental side, I think each and everyone should just come in and play, because this is not Bayern Munich, or this is not, your expensively assembled side. So there are a lot of youngsters, who can come in and fill in those shoes. You talk of the likes of Oswald Swanda. We saw him last week, changing the complexion of the game, coming in after since it scored 4, so he can come in. There's Tanaka Nyoni, another striker who has done well. So
long throw from Chuma, and that one will go all the way to Sibanda, flicked onwards by Zaza, but Sibanda has got good positioning, like we indicated earlier.
Yes, sir. And what's more disappointing now, Prakesa, with these injuries that have happened to Bosso 90, we've seen now Coach Caesar taking the role of the medic. It's what we have been talking about. This is Bosso 90, developmental side of Highlanders. At least send one doctor down to come and play that role, because these are the future stars for the Highlanders side. So if they are not really taken care of properly, then it's a worry.
I think the first team physio or the doctor should look after these, youngsters, because he should know them. For me, I feel, because we can safely say Islanders has got 60 players, including these ones. They are acting as cover for the senior team. So I'm not sure why, he is not coming in to help the technical team in terms of the injuries.
Well, I think that also applies to the whole Southern Region Division 1 Soccer League, guys, because last week we saw Nkosikona Masumbuka getting a serious head injury when Ajax played Binga. And this issue that we have always touched on of not having an ambulance in attendance is, I think it's quite dangerous, because the injuries that have been coming through, some of them are quite serious injuries, and without properly trained personnel on the bench, then I think we're sitting on a time bomb.
It's true, Brakesa. We have seen, we were talking about Diripo before this encounter, that he had to be taken to hospital unconscious. And can you imagine there was no ambulance on that day to ferry him to the hospital? So it's football and it's a contact sport. So it's wise to have the medics
good pass
here.
from Mlauzi as Nyana Chachi's goal was, but his final effort was so poor.
So that's another area they have to work on in terms of the technical team to help the youngster Nyanana. The finishing just it wasn't there compared to the effort he put in, running to the ball and how he has applied himself this afternoon. So I haven't really seen him, how he takes them the cracks at goal. So it's an area that the youngster can improve on. But otherwise, I think it was a nice movement from him. It was good movement, receiving the ball and attacking the goal there.
Here is Nyahanana. Nyati plays it forward, headed away by Mlochwa. It falls now for Katuso. That's a Tumoenkosini in Ndlovu. He wins a free kick.
Yeah, forgiveness Nyoni has been very, very, very naughty there at the back, Brakesa. He has all the fouls that he has conceded. I think he has been very late at the back there.
Yes, he has to watch out because at times when you give away these free kicks, you may put your team in danger, especially if you're playing against teams that have got good hitters of the ball, the likes of your talent Mseve. Will always make sure that his effort is powerful and on target. So it's something that the Bosso technical team has got to watch out for. They've got to talk to Nyoni and advise him not to commit those. Into the box it comes! But I think the strikers that were in the box read that one too late, that effort there into the box by Tumo Nkosini Ndlovu. The likes of Zaza and Ndoro were not anticipating that cross, so their reaction was too slow. So goal kick now for Bosso 19.
Especially Ndoro, Brakes, I thought he needed just a slight touch, anything goalwards in that instance. It could have resulted in a goal. So an opportunity goes begging for climbers, but good effort put in by Tumenko Sini Katuso on the wing there, an outfoot cross, and it deceived the Bosso 90 defense. So the coach needs to encourage them to keep on doing that because for a moment we saw the Bosso 90 defense going to a sleep there. That's made up of forgiveness as well as Nube, the captain. So at least I think it's encouraging for Coach Rocha because they have got an opportunity, and if they can continue doing that, I think they might get something out of this one.
Ndoro sends it forward. Good work from Nyoni as Fuzane finds Masego, who plays it wide to Madziva. Struggles to control, but eventually keeps it under his control. Ngwenya to Madziva, and throw in for climbers on the right channel. Less than 2 minutes of regulation time left on the clock, and a Bosso 90 player is down on the ground after letting off a very loud scream. I think it's a Nyati.
Yes, off the ball incident there. Very naughty there from Tumoenkosi Ndlovu committing that foul. He really stepped hard on him, but it's an off the ball incident, and again Coach Caesar has to run back into the field.
So I'm not sure what the referee will do there. That is.
Did he spot
the incident? I'm not sure because the man who's supposed. I think the person was better positioned to see that one. It's supposed to be Kachepa's Banda, who is the second assistant. But I really don't think he actually saw it. We could only hear the screams because even where we are standing, it's quite far from where the incident happened, but you could hear the screams from Nyati. Maybe being theatric, I'm not sure, but like he said, he actually saw the incident, that it was a bit naughty.
Unfortunately for Nyati, I think there is a throw-in that is about to be taken, and that's where the focus of the match officials was. So no one from the centerman and the far side assistant referee caught that. So play has resumed with a throw-in. Fuzane heads it forward. It falls for Katuso. Into the box it comes. Zaza stopped in his tracks there by Nyoni, cleanly and legally.
Yes, Zaza really trying to cook it there, trying to get something out of that. But the referee was within distance to spot. There was no infringement there. And so far, so good for Bosso 90 into regulation time.
Well, there's a throw-in that has been given to Climbers. As Mlochwa wins a free kick. Fuzan wanted to take it quickly.
Off position, and it was also stopped there by Umlauzi. Very clever from Lauzi there. Very clever, spotting that early restart and managing to stop it.
Makamba playing it wide to Masego. Masego pumps along on forward. He's looking for Zaza. Zaza flicks it forward for Ndoro, but Ndoro then pushed a Bosso 90 player off the ball, and this time around Kachepa was correctly positioned to catch that one. So play will have to restart with a free kick just on the edge of the penalty area. Spanda plays it wide as Mube attempted goal by Ndlovu, but it was a weak one and was also blocked easily, and handling of offense just at the edge of the penalty area. It could have been much more dangerous had he been just a few meters towards his own goal there. That's the Mountain Climbers defender. But still, this one is a dangerous one because it's just a meter or so from the penalty area, and with proper execution, Nonjabulo could be in trouble. Nyahanana behind that one, he skips it. Nyati, the wall does its job. Corner kick.
I think they should take notes from Sila, from the senior team. We saw those ones, he really dispatching them easily in their previous fixture against Flower Chiefs. So, but it wasn't really not a bad effort from Nyati there, but the wall really playing a very crucial role there.
Yeah, I think also Tapiwa, the Climbers defender, being clumsy for me, Prakesa, as a defender, you have to be careful. You are one person who's supposed to be more focused than anybody else, because if the incident had happened, a shed into the box, it was going to be a penalty.
Yeah, Nana with the corner. This one, I think, had too much power and will go all the way out of play for a throw-in. It's now the referee's optional time, and there he goes, blowing to end proceedings in the first half. And we go to the halftime break with Bosso 90 leading this one. It's a Mountain Climbers 0 and Bosso 90 2. As Busiso Mahlangu with the opener on 22 minutes, and then Nigel Mlauzi ensuring that they extend their lead to 2 goals on the half-hour mark. So far so good for Bosso 90. Welcome back to the second half of this Southern Region Division 1 rescheduled encounter between Mountain Climbers and Bosso 90. We went to the halftime break with Bosso 90 leading by 2 goals to nil. And we see Bosso 90 have already made a change, while on the other hand, Mountain Climbers also making their own change. Simbarasha Madzivire coming in for Bosso 90. It looks like he has replaced Msaliwa. So that hit that he got from Nonja must have been a very painful one, because he has not returned from the break.
Yes, Simbarasha Madzivire, another FAMSA product making his way into the field. He can play on the central part of the midfield. He can also play as a forward. So we're also hoping to see, and also Mountain Climbers bringing changes to me.
Yeah, we've got Lamek Mafu coming in. He used to start, but it seems like the coaches have started differently. As off we go in the second half, he replaces Ndoro. So we now have got the ganging striker Mafu up front for the Bosso 90 defense to deal with in the second half. I saw Ndoro. He had his boot off. It seems like it was an injury inspired, just like what happened to Msaliwa. So 2 injuries that were had in this encounter so far.
Well, let us wait and see whose changes are going to be more effective, because as they say, the second half belongs to the coaches. So the first changes have been made, with both teams each bringing in a player, Mafu for Mountain Climbers and Madzivire for Bosso 90. Sibanda with the throw for Nyahanana, cuts inside, turns and plays it to Mube. Blows it through on goal, but he had strayed into an offside position. So free kick for Climbers.
But some good forward play once again from Prince, releasing Mlauzi on the wing. So hopefully in the second half we'll begin to see that happening for Mountain Climbers, especially with Fuzane, as well as Maibongo in the middle of the pack. We are just hoping that as well as Menzo Bushe, I'm just hoping that these 2 guys will in the second half start to play positive, play those incisive passes into the Bosso 90 half.
Well, so far Bosso 90 really utilizing wing play, because I think what they noticed maybe when they were doing their scouting and spying, they realized that Mountain Climbers uses a back 3 rather. So when they use that back 3, it becomes a bit difficult for them to defend when the strikers stretch the field and stretch the defenders. They open up the field and stretch the defenders. Usually we see the Bosso 90 strikers are playing quite close to each other, but today we are seeing Madzivire and Zvusiso are playing quite far apart, and also on the flanks the Nyanana and Mlauzi. But this time around it seems like they've also changed tech, because we are seeing Mahlangu is now in a wide position, and Mlauzi and is now the man playing right up on top there. But maybe it's the movement that they are going to try and employ to try and confuse the opponents, because in football you have to try and confuse your opponents so that they find it difficult to deal with you.
Yes, Prakesa, managing this Bosso 90 team, they are managing to play in between the lines there, because you can see the Mountain Climbers defenders, they are very far apart. Their distances in between, they are not one of the best.
As Marcelo plays it back to the goalkeeper who clears, Mafu gets his first touch. A clearance by Nyoni will go all the way to the goalkeeper. So I think what has happened is that Msaliwa was an out-and-out striker, playing alongside Bosso Mahlangu, but the coming in of Matsivire has necessitated a change in the team's formation, and maybe they also want to consolidate their 2-0 lead, and now they are playing with a one out-and-out striker in the form of Big Mlauzi. Masego into the box, headed away there by Ngube, as Nyati makes sure. Gattuso goes on a run, but good defensive work there by Nyoni, but the near side assistant referee Mapolisa says there was an infringement there on the Mountain Climbers player.
I think Nyoni is a no-nonsense type of a defender, Prakesa. Whenever he sees an opponent, he just makes sure that he shows his presence. And in that instance, the first assistant referee saying that it was overly aggressive from Nyoni, and it was a free kick. But for me, I thought it's a men's game, so he was actually trying to defend. So let's see how Fuzane will dispatch this one. It's a good opportunity for Climbers.
Into the box it comes, high up in the air, headed towards a goal there, easily collected by Gerald Sibanda. It was Mafu with the header, but it was a weak one, and as usual, Sibanda was properly positioned.
Yeah, Bosso 9 always struggles with their set pieces. We've seen them concede quite a number of goals from corner kicks and those free kicks. So in that instance, another header which they allowed in the box, but fortunately, Sibanda was at hand to deal with that one.
Into the box it comes from Matsiva, and Sibanda will collect at the second asking.
Yes, Sibanda has really looked impressive this day. He has also lived under the shadow of Romeo there, and so far, ever since he was given this first jersey, he's also proving that he's the go-to man in that goal for Bosso 90. So far, so good. So far, spot on at the back there. Impressive from the young man. Another product of FAMSA.
As Nonja plays it out from the back and finds Masego. Masego pumps along on forward and plays it down the line. Good running from Zaza. Into the box he tries, but good covering there. A good block from Talent Ngube.
Yes,
so corner kick now
for me, I think Zaza there. It's a one-on-one situation. It's a one-on-one situation, and you try to at least keep the ball, take on the man. But you want a corner kick. Let's see how this one pans.
Afuzane behind the corner. Into the box it comes, and it's missed there by Mafu. I think the player went high and missed that ball. Kind of disturbed Mafu, because when the ball got to him, he was no longer in a position to strike it towards a goal, and it fell kindly for Sibanda.
I think Mafu should anticipate such, crosses. We've seen in the European League whereby Ramos will run in to that one and intentionally, duck, so that maybe someone from the back post can come in and step a header or plant a header into goal. And in that instance, I think if Mafu had really anticipated that one, it could have been a goal, because it was clear and it fell kindly into his path, and unfortunately he thought at first instance the player who missed it, he thought he had already headed it. So Climbers being positive in this second half that we have played Brakesa, but it remains Bosso 92 and Mountain Climbers 0, as we have played 53 minutes. The two goals coming from Bosso Mahlangu as well as Nigel Mlauzi.
Well, I think Mountain Climbers have realized that Bosso 90 struggles to deal with the crosses, because they now are playing it wide and whipping in those crosses. And so far, Bosso 90 are struggling to decisively deal with crosses. But they've managed to withstand the pressure. And here they are as they try to play their way to finding a third. Matsivire rushing his decision there. He wasn't looking up. And free kick for mountain climbers as they continue to ask the questions as they try to claw themselves back into this game. A chance now for Bosso United to go on the break with Ndlovu. Sending a through ball from Lauzi. Is he going to catch that? He can't.
And how that ball goes, I think it didn't really weigh the passer. For me, he should also have tried to play it through in between the lines of the mountain climbers defenders. It's easy for Mlaus to turn into goal pound. So also again, I think the decision there from the young prince was not spot on. But well, it's a game. We continue. Learn from your mistakes.
As Nyati wins a free kick after going down and challenge there from Dumo Nkosini Ndlovu. I think, coaches will always have their tactics and all that, but so far this decision to now work with one striker is proving to be unwise for Bosso United, because they are now allowing the mountain climbers defenders to initiate attacks from the back.
It's just a matter of time, Brakesa, before we have something, happening in the Bosso United goal, because defenders can only sustain such period of pressure for a certain period, and if this continues, I think the center will eventually give in. So let's wait and see if they will continue trying to defend, and you can see that the center backs for climbers are now pressing high up, and it's giving Bosso United defense some headaches, and they are enjoying themselves in terms of possession. That is climbers in the we have played 55 minutes in the second half, and it remains Bosso United 2 and the climbers 0.
Zaza goes up and finds support from Mafu, opens fire, but that one was always rising. Well, there was a block there from one of the Bosso United defenders, so it's yet another corner for mountain climbers, and a corner spells trouble for Bosso United.
Yes, trouble, Prakesa, now given the stature that you have with your mountain climbers players. Very, very impulsive, they are very impulsive stature. So in that box, they would really need to mark well. And it's in there, the box.
Zaza takes a shot. Well, it was an acrobatic effort, but it was always rising. Well, Bosso United now rushing things. They no longer holding on to the ball, and their top man there, Mlauzi, is now an isolated man.
Yeah, and we are no longer seeing Nyanana into action. So he's a very key man in terms of this Bosso 90 attack. So whenever he is out of it, I think they will struggle. So in this second half, it's now difficult for Bosso 90. But I think they will have to change the strategy, Brakesa, because it's not working, and mountain climbers are now finding those spaces, and anything can happen from this minute now.
Zaza keeps that one in play, and it's headed goalwards. There was some miscommunication from Dumo Nkosini and Menzo Ngonya, because that was a good cross there from the left channel by Zaza, but both of them went for it, and as a result, a chance wasted.
I think Menzo was better positioned than Dumo. He should have left it for him, but communication is key in football, and they failed to communicate, and eventually it's an opportunity that has gone begging for climbers. They really need a goal right now, Brakesa, because if they fail to turn this dominance into goals at this stage, it will be difficult for them to recover. You are 2-0 down, you are getting these opportunities, just utilize them, because if you fail to do that and Bosso 90 slowly creep back into the match, they might score a third. So it's a crucial stage for mountain climbers, and they should turn this dominance into something tangible, which is a goal.
And the change whereby mountain climbers have moved Zaza into a more deeper role is working for them, because his movement is now troubling the Bosso 90 players who are not being able to track him, and as a result he's winning a lot of free kicks in the Bosso 90 half, and it's Fuzane behind that one. And they've got the height advantage, that is mountain climbers, your Mafus, your Zazas in there waiting for that delivery. Fuzana into the box and he goes for goal, but Sibanda, in terms of positioning, perfect so far.
Yes, he has been spot on. But now what's worrying for me, Prakesa, is I think Bosso 90 are now more scared of conceding than going forward. Because mountain climbers hasn't been really that threatening with these chances that they have got so far. And I'm thinking they should be adding numbers, this mountain climbers team going forward, because they leave 3 people behind at the center while they are on the attack. Why leave 3 people against only 1 person up front? It's really, if you want to score goals, but how do you expect to score goals if you're not adding numbers forward? And I think Bosso 90 really needs to step out of that defensive third, because the way they have been sitting back, that is why they have been conceding these corners and these set pieces there at the back, and they haven't been keeping much of their position. Because at the end of the day, you need the ball to move. That transition, it has to show. If it doesn't show, then at the end of the day, we might.
Referee into the opposition half for Bosso 90 as Nyati spreads it wide to the right channel. Zondo into the box and Nigel tries to get behind that one, but a good defensive work there by Matolo. That's Lloyd Masego.
Yeah, for a moment I thought maybe because he was lacking that Mlauzi on the blind side, and if he had gone to sleep, something else could have happened there. So good defending from Lloyd in that instance, as it remains 2-0 in this one.
Yes, because he did not know what was behind him. He made sure he had to get a touch, and that touch was enough to make sure that Mlauzi did not get to the end of that delivery. Here is Matolo with the clearance. Also, 90's keeper Ncube clears the danger as another Ncube tries to play it forward, and commits a foul there by putting his head too low. That's talent Ncube. Makamba for Chuma, who plays it forward, and there was a contact there, but the referee allowed the play to continue, giving the home team the advantage, but the advantage did not work for them because Spanda easily picked up that effort towards a goal, but it's Lamek Mafu who is down injured. But the referee was quite close to the action, so maybe the sound that we heard was just the sound of 2 football boots coming together. There really was no dangerous tackle on the mountain climbers player.
Yeah, well, needs to say Zinswazi when those 2 boots or feet clash, and I think the referee giving advantage because it was a good opportunity for climbers to get something out of it, but they failed to deal with it. But what's encouraging for me is that I saw the medic running onto the field of play with a first aid kit. So maybe for climbers, we know them, they've got a good development policy in this team. They've got a women's football team, they've got juniors, so maybe they realize the importance of having someone who is trained
and properly equipped.
Yeah, with proper equipment, true. So it's good, but what's happening on the field of play, it's not good for them because it remains Bosso 92 and Mountain Climbers 0, as we have played 62 minutes into this one. So we've played 1 hour and 2 minutes, and it remains Bosso 92 and Mountain Climbers 0.
As Mafu finds Chuma, Mazire, Nkwenya, weak effort towards a goal, and Bosso 90 will clear, but immediately they gift back possession to climbers. Here is Maziva into the box. Good defensive work by Nyati, the holding midfielder for Bosso 90. But mountain climbers keep on coming with Maziva. finding Fuzane through Paul for Madziva, but well, I think he had tired a bit after initiating that move on the right channel.
Prakesa, it won't work for mountain climbers because they are trying to pull the ball outside into the wide area and then whip in some crosses. But you find that numerically they are very disadvantaged because you have more than 5 players of Bosso 90 in front of their own goal versus 3 people are there. So it really won't work. That is why I was saying, Prakesa, they should add on with these other wing backs to follow up, maybe 8 numbers forward. Because with the way they are playing, I don't see them getting any goal anytime soon, Prakesa.
We just saw a brilliant pass from Nyati there to release Mlauzi on the wing. So I think he has been the heartbeat of Bosso 90, that's Nyati, in this encounter. And if he can continue doing that, it's going to be something positive for Bosso 90. Crossing the box.
Crosses, and Lamek Mafus head and narrowly misses the target. The Asibanda first error in this game came out, claimed the ball, but could not get to the end of the cross by Tumoenkosini Ndlovu.
They say moments of madness, Prakesa. How do you move away from your goal when you have 3 defenders facing one forward? That is very poor. You see, that is the painful part of being a goalkeeper. You would have a very good afternoon on the day, and only one blunder can really cost you. So that is why they always say you need to stay switched on in that goal. I think Gerald Spanda was caught at that moment, and lucky for him, didn't go in.
Yeah, I think he was napping there.
Zaza has been a bundle of energy in the second half ever since making that switch from being an out striker to playing just off the shoulder of the new man, that is Namafu. So his movement has seen him getting to the end of some good passes from midfield. I think he is now allowing the likes of Fuzane and Ngwenya to come into their being there and start creating something for mountain climbers. But here is Prince Ndlovu, does a step over and is fouled by Ngwenya. Well, now that Prince Ndlovu is starting to play, maybe that pressure there that mountain climbers has been directing at Bosso 90 is beginning to ebb. Well, we have played 66 minutes of this encounter, and it is still Bosso 90 leading by 2 goals to 0. And they will do their best to try and kill off a few seconds because that will ensure that maybe they slow down the tempo, because they've been under the conch for most of the second half, even though the scoreline still remains Bosso 90 leading this one by 2 goals to 0.
Yeah, and we also saw Jerry, the goalkeeper, being given a yellow card for what the referee saw is time wasting. So warning signs for them not to kill time, because we are just here to watch football, not players on the ground and also wasting time. So just play it. I always admire European football, Prakesa, whereby players can actually kill time by passing the ball. So maybe that's an area that we have to work on, especially for Bosso 90. It's a developmental side, so just give them those basics to say let's kill time by just passing the ball, and make sure that we don't give the opponent the ball so that we can kill off the time.
As Bosso 90 concede yet another corner under pressure from mountain climbers, and it is Fuzane behind the delivery. We await the delivery, and here it comes. It's up in the air, and the Spanda comes out and punches it out of danger. It falls back to Fuzane. Into the cross it comes again. Well, that movement there by Forgiveness Nyoni, he did well to charge, and as a result the mountain climbers player kind of panicked and played the ball out to touch for a throw in.
Yes, we talked about it, Prakesa. Fuzane, when he's on the ball, he can really bring on those deliveries that can cause problems for Bosso 90. But he hasn't seen much of the ball this afternoon, so it's very worrying, because at the end of the day you'll be looking to equalize, but your best men are not on the ball.
Tumengo Ndlovu goes down there, but the referee says there was nothing wrong with that challenge. As Zaza picks it up and finds Madiba into the box, it comes. Well, it does not, as Nyoni defends for Bosso 90. Nyati to Talent Nube, plays it forward and finds Busiso Mashangu, who wins a throw-in for Bosso 90. And the referee taking his time to talk to Moenko Ndlovu and tell him, my boy, I'm the man in charge, and do not try to trick me, because if you do that, I'm going to show you who is in charge.
Yes, players, Brakesa, they would always try to react even when it's necessary. So at the end of the day, it's worrying. And now another change for Bosso 90, Brakesa.
Yeah, we've got also Spanda coming in. So we saw him last week coming in and changing the complexion of the game when Bosso 92 consensus, and they are taking out Prince Ndlovu, who was impressive in the first half, but in the second half he hasn't been the same player that we saw in the first half. So it's a great shift by the youngster, and it has been a good afternoon for him. He leaves the pitch with his team leading by 2-0, 1 assist and some positive play on the field of play. So let's see what Sibanda will do this afternoon. He came in when there was pressure last week, and this time he comes in when there is a need for game management from Bosso 90. They are leading 2-0, and they just have to make sure that they manage the game. So let's wait and see if the change will actually change the complexion of this encounter.
And they gets his first touch as Bosso 90 scramble to defend. Nyanana picks it up. Gets support from Mzondo. Mashangu goes all around, but the referee found something illegal there in that challenge by Mashangu, but it seemed like he had won it fairly and squarely and had gone on the attack, but he was stopped dead in his tracks there by the referee. Well, I think Prince Ndlovu struggled somewhat in the second half because of the style of play that Bosso 90 are now adopting, because they now are making those blind clearances. They are no longer playing themselves out of danger. So as a result, he was now being deliberately omitted from the equation by the defenders, because they just pumped the ball forward to the strikers, and as a result he became irrelevant. That's why he has since been removed from this game. Fuzane picks it up and plays it wide to Madiba. Madiba tries to work his way past Nigel, but is easily brushed off there, using his body to full advantage. That's Nigel Mlauzi.
Yes, I think he has got the big body to do that, Brakesa, and he needs to keep on doing that even in attack. Yes. We have seen him so many times getting into those good areas whereby he needs to shoot the ball, but he's still a youngster, so those are the areas that he needs to learn. As we see climbers also making their own changes. Yes, they made one when the second half started, and now they are making a double substitution. You are seeing jersey number 6 coming in. That's a Gilbert Svanda, and he will come in, and we also have got Trimo Kwenzi. That's another one who will come in, and then they will be taking out Katuso. Tumo Enkosini is going out, so their key men today not playing to what we expect. Then there is Blessing Moy as well, so it's a triple substitution for Rogers and Level. So let's wait and see if these triple changes will bring in the desired outcome from Rogers. So another interesting stat is that Oswald Sibanda is the son to one of the brothers of Charles Sibanda, who is a footballer. So he comes from a family that has got a rich history in terms of football. So he's making his name as well in this Bosso Bosso 90 team. So wait and see if he will go on and emulate what Charles Sibanda did in the Zimbabwe Premier League football.
Masego into the box it comes, and Sibanda misses that one. And Challenge Nube is to frantically clear, but Sibanda has remained down, injured. Well, those high balls into the box are giving Sibanda quite a torrid time.
Yes, it's now worrying, Brakesa. It's now worrying because Nigel and Forgiveness, Nyoni, they at the back, they've been failing to deal with those high balls. He has won some of those balls, that is Sibanda, but at the end of the day, you can't keep on cutting those crosses on his own. The defenders now need to really come in and make sure that they clear those balls before they even reach the keeper. You could need to change the strategy again because Bosso 90 are not really attacking. They are still stuck in their own half with one man up top versus three men. No, we can't really attack with that kind of system, Prakesa. So I think mountain climbers need to really risk it if they want to get a point or even go on to claim 3 points in this game.
As Ngwenya plays it forward for Lamza Mafu. As Sibanda gets his first touch. Not convincing clearance there from Nigel Nube. As Matsivire will try and defend against another new man, Kwenzi Nyanana picks it up. A scramble for possession there in the middle of the park, finally putted into the mountain climbers' half as Oswald struggles to control. Matsivire, Chimzondo, Nyati plays it forward. He's looking for Z. Mahlangu goes down under a challenge, but the referee says it was a fair one. Masego putting Nonja under a bit of pressure there, but Nonja was able to clear that one. Sibanda has struggled to make an impact ever since coming in, and like I said, I think he's now suffering from the same fate as the man he replaced, Prince Ndlovu, because the ball keeps flying over his head. They are not playing themselves out of danger.
That is the mistake now that Bosso 90 are making. They now have 5 men in the middle of the field, but still they go on to bypass the five men, of which that is what is making the Sibanda to struggle there, because he can't get the ball. You can see him; he's all over the show. He's trying to get the ball, but he can't get it because the ball is flying. Prakesa is putting it. So I think they really need to keep the ball down. Let's manage the game.
As Nyanan releases Mahlangu. Mahlangu finds Matsivire. Into the box it comes. Cleared there by the new man. Plays more. Moyo. Masego makes a mistake and puts a teammate under pressure, but Makamba coolly plays it all the way back to Nonja, who pumps along on forward. Sibanda was looking for Nyahanana, who wins that one and tries to release Mahlangu, but Makamba was alert to the danger. Nonja plays it out to Masego, who plays it to the right channel. Good skill there by Place Momoyo, who finds Lamza Masego. Zaza on the right channel. Keeps that one in play. And finds a support in the form of Sibanda. Well, the problem with dummies is that at times you end up deceiving your own teammate.
Yeah, I think he ended up, even us were deceived here because we thought, there was someone coming in. So yeah, we call it a issue. So it's a skill, that is most of the times, it can give you something out of it, but in that instance, and nothing really materializing out of that one. But I'm also seeing that, Songaniwa is Pupupu in the middle of the park brackets. I think the midfield is now crowded. So the two men, that is Coach Roger as well as Shea, they really need to realize that and start using the wings, because at the center right now, so is Pupupu. And also another man who's suffering from that decision by Bosso 90 to bypass the midfield is Nyahanana in this second half. We haven't really seen much from the youngster, and you can see that he's trying to come back into the match, but it's very much difficult because the goals are no longer getting to him. So, but it remains 2-0 in this one. Brakesa Bosso 90 leads in this encounter, as we have played almost 70 minutes now, and it remains Bosso 90 2 and Mountain Climbers 0.
Into the air it goes, cleared by Chuma. It falls for Quenzi. A crossfield pass, finds a place more. Is he going to keep that one in play? Yes, he does. Masego cuts inside into the box. A poor clearance there, but Zaza was not alert to the manner that had fallen for him. Mlauzi with the clearance finds Zbusiso Mahlangu. Mahlangu goes on a run, tries desperately to hold on to that one, and ends up conceding a throw-in.
He should have kept that ball. That is Z. Brakesa. After realizing that he's on his own, I think it's safe for him to try and keep it, protect it, let your teammates come into the attack, because it was a 2 versus 1 situation there. So at the end of the day, you can't really get anything out of that unless you are that kind of dribbling wizard who can dribble his way out of. But for Z, he's a speedy forward. It's his strength. So now keep the ball, wait for others to come in, and we play a combination football. Maybe we can get something out of that.
And with less than 9 minutes of regulation time remaining, he could be forgiven also for going for the corner. You go for the corner there and try and kill off a few seconds, or which could even lead up to a minute, and that also tends to frustrate the opponents. Ngwenya picks it up in the middle of the park, tussles for possession and wins a free kick against Mlauzi. Ngwenya will leave it for Masego, who plays it back to Makamba. A long ball forward, and Mzondo will let that one roll out of play for a goal kick. Some clever play there from Mzondo, because he is going to be able to kill off a few seconds there, as we see Lamza having to go and pick up that ball, because no one from Bosso was going to pick it up.
Yeah, I think as being a developmental side, I've also noticed that Mzondo is an intelligent player. You hardly see him on the field of play, but whenever it comes to these times whereby decisions are very important, he comes in with those intelligent decisions. So another one who has also done well this afternoon. Yes, he hasn't. We haven't seen him much in terms of being in possession, and he hasn't really overlapped, because as a right back, I think we should be seeing him on the other side trying to overlap and get the crosses into the box. But it's been a good shift for him this afternoon, as Bosso 90 still lead this one by 2-0 with 83 minutes played, and another substitution for Mountain Climbers, as they are bringing in Muchineripi. That's Dennis, a defensive midfielder. So I'm not sure. I know DM, that's a defensive midfielder coming in at this stage, whereby we expect Climbers to have more numbers in the box. But on the other hand, Bosso 90 also making a double change. 2 strikers are now coming in. It's Tanaka Nyoni as well as Prosper Msamanyada, the 2 giant strikers. And now coming onto the field of play, and never mind the fact that Tanaka is putting on a jersey written Caesar, but it's Tanaka Nyoni, and Nyanana is now being taken out, as well as Busiso Mahlangu. It's been a good shift by these two youngsters, Nyanana and Busiso. For me, I think what was expected of them, they did it this afternoon. Mahlangu with a goal, and Nyanana with some trickery on the wing, which was entertaining for us, the fans who came into the stadium today. So good shift from these two youngsters who, look alike in terms of the hairstyles. As it remains, Bosso 92 and Mountain Climbers nil with 85 minutes being played.
Yes, and the height of Prosper, I think, should work for Bosso 90 because they're now playing the long ball, and he also has to use his stature to try and protect the ball so that he can maybe even take it to the corner there and kill off some time.
Yes, Prakesa, Nigel has been dropped into this other side of the wing on the left side, having these two Tanaka up front there. Now it's a strategy to again, guys. Let's go and block the defenders of Mountain Climbers. They shouldn't be playing those restarts at the back there. So good strategy from Bosso 90. Let's manage the game and get our 3 points.
As Chuma pumps along on forward, it's flicked further forward by Zaza. And Zaza had moved into a central striking role there. And it's surprising when a center striker then goes on to flick the ball forward, because he will be the final man in that attack. He will be the spearhead, and then would then proceed to try and flick the ball forward, and that will mean playing it all the way back to the opposition goalkeeper. But it happens in the game of football, especially if you are chasing and things are not going your way. Prosper finds Tanaka, who turns and plays it wide for Oswald Sibanda. Well, things have not gone quite well for Sibanda ever since he came on, and there he is now failing to control, and then he proceeds to play that one to no man's land.
Yeah, the first touch is always important, bracket in the game of football. And his first touch
it was poor, and the second touch was also
very poor.
And you never recover from that. It's difficult to recover from that.
I'm not sure if it's the Luveve tape that he's playing at, but it's still the same, with the other tapes that he's been playing. So it's been a difficult one for him, and he hasn't really recovered ever since he has came on. That is Sibanda. But I think right now we are just approaching. It's now 87 minutes in, and I think it's Bosso 93 points at this stage. Although Real Madrid did it against Man City in the Champions League, so maybe this afternoon Climbers might do that. But I think it's now Bosso 90's game, and especially these changes that they've made, I think they now need to be more on the offensive than being on the defensive.
Here is Sibanda getting it right for a change. Matsivire plays it back to Nigel Ngube. I think we can safely say that Bosso 90 has weathered the storm, and these two changes that they've made have ensured that the pressure that was being piled on them by Mountain Climbers dies down.
Good game management for me, I feel, and I think the Climbers really threw everything at them. Although, like what Anel was saying, that the numbers weren't that much into the box, you'll expect that they will get more numbers as they are in attack.
A good block there by the Bosso 90 defense, and that clearance goes out of play for a throw-in by Masego. Now for the new man, Muchineripi. He finds Masego. Muchineripi, that was a poor pass.
To meet my concern.
Yes.
to whom it may
To
concern.
no man's land.
Yes. So one critical thing that I was watching Prakesa from Sibanda before he came on. He was only dilly-dallying there on the warm-up side. He didn't do proper warm-up. So when I saw him making those kind of mistakes when he came on, I said maybe he's going to heat up, but it seems like he still wants to heat up. I wonder maybe he's going to heat up when the game is over. So some of those critical things, Prakesa, if you have a very broad technical team, you can easily take note of such things, because whenever these players are supposed to be doing warm-up, they are just rolling around, of which it's not, it doesn't pay dividends to the team, Prakesa, because we need you heating up into that field of play.
Yes, that's the problem with football players. You tell them to warm up, and they think that they're doing that warm up for the coach, and yet they will be getting their bodies ready for the job at hand. So now, it has severely affected or adversely affected Oswald Sibanda, because when you come in from the bench, you are expected to come in and change the complexion of the game and contribute positively to the team effort. And when you don't do that, then you would be giving the coaches maybe food for thought, so that maybe they should next time deploy someone else. So he did not do himself a great deal of service by not properly warming up, and it showed when he came in. But these are youngsters, and maybe someone ought to have a word with him and tell him to do that, because it will affect his career.
I'm just hoping that he realizes that what's happening is a result of what he did in terms of warm-ups, because if he doesn't realize it, then he won't correct it. And because I don't think that the technical team realized that their focus was on the field of play rather than on the players doing warm-ups. But like you are rightly putting it out, guys, I think these players take it for granted, this thing of doing warm-ups. You can see them, they are even doing them now, but they are just standing and watching the game. And if the coach calls you, then they are quick to take off your shirt, then put on the one that you're using on the field without thinking much of the warm-ups. So it has really affected Sibanda, as he's being elbowed there on the wing in that instance. It remains 2-0 for Bosso 90.
The scream, though, to me, the scream from Sibanda.
And we have already played the 90 minutes, and we are now in the referee's optional time.
Yeah, I think at times it's important for coaches to explain to players why they do some of these things, because the reason why players warm up is to loosen, then stretch and strengthen those muscles, so that you get your body ready for the action that will be forthcoming. But at times, the players, if they do not know why they do that thing, then they will be reluctant to do it. Kwenzi, with the clearance, finds Lamza Mafu. Through ball there from Sibanda, finding Zaza. He has been a bundle of energy in the second half, but all his hard work, all his toil...
Outnumbered, Prakesa, outnumbered. This mountain climbers attack has really failed this afternoon, Prakesa. Because whenever they go forward, you find that it's either Zaza is alone up there, or he only has one man to support him, versus 4 to 5 of Bosso 90. And in that instance, they've just lost the ball now in attack. You see, it's because they don't have those numbers forward.
I think the issue of warm-up that you were highlighting there, I do not think that the likes of Sibanda for mountain climbers also did warm up properly, because ever since he's come up, he has just been playing those blind passes, turning over possession.
As one would say.
Yes.
Yes. We've seen Bulawayo Chiefs, the Iranian trainer. He makes sure that the players warm up for almost the whole 90 minutes. And also saw in another match, I think it was Arnold Movers defender from Kawaza. He was warming up for almost the entire second half. But I think it's now I'm realizing the importance of doing those warm ups, even though he never came in. But it's actually important to do that, because the guys who have came in this afternoon, not even one of them who has really changed the complexion of this encounter, as it remains at 2-0 in favor of Bosso 90, and we are now deep into the referee's optional time, and it seems like Bosso 90 will be taking the 3 points from this one.
It's looking good for Bosso 90 as Zaza turns and plays one towards goal, but Moyo had the time to use the run too quickly, and as a result,
There's no jump like that,
to get to the end of
you
that
can't
one.
score from that jump.
The body language is just
you
not,
can't score.
positive at all.
Well, we've come to the end of this one here at Luveve Stadium, and it's a win for Bosso 90 to take their points tally to 15 points. So from myself, Sakeleni Ngumalo,
And Anile Nyati.
And praise to me, Zagama.
Till next time, it's a goodbye.
I think it's one of those games where you are punished for failing to use your own chances that you create. I think we started well. We're confident on the, although we're playing too negatively in the opening minutes. And then we made a blunder that put the opponents actually firmly in the game. After making that blunder, then we failed to mark where it's basic that it should be known for me. We allow a striker to run 30 to 40 meters before he finishes. But at the end of the day, it's one of those games. At times, besides playing well in football, we need a bit of fun.
I think the boys showed character today, and as we spoke to them, and I think they followed instructions. As we approach the break, we told them that we need to go to the break with a win, and I think we could have won this one with a convincing scoreline had it not been wasteful strikers on the day.